Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from whichever part of the world you are watching from, and welcome to the HagueTalks, where for this event in the upcoming hour, we are going to speak about the role of local governments in sustainable peace building. Now, my name is HagueTalks. I'm 21 years old, and I'm a former UN Youth Representative for the Netherlands, specifically on the topics of human rights and security, which is also why I am delighted to be your host for today. And speaking about delight, or maybe I should rather say honor, because we are joined by an incredibly inspiring lineup of speakers today. And maybe I can start with the one who is standing here in the studio with me, Mayor Jan Vonzana.
Nice to see you again.
Yes, so good to see you. You are the mayor of The Hague, and you are also the co-president of the UCLG Peace Prize.
Yes.
Yes, we're looking forward to hearing more from you in the session today. And I said speakers plural because we are also joined by four incredibly inspiring digital guests who are in the Zoom call with us. We have Mrs. Katarina Krugonja from Croatia. We have Mr. Oscar Escobar from Colombia. We have Ms. Rosenbone from Kenya. And last but definitely not least, we have Mr. Leoluca Orlando from Italy. It's a pleasure to have you here with us as well. Now, for the sharp ones amongst the viewers at home, they will know that today is actually the International Day for the Right to the Truth Concerning Gross Human Rights Violations and for the dignity of victims. And it is for this specific reason that in this event, we will focus on, first off, the role of local governments in helping to build that sustainable peace. We will look at their unique added value in peace building. And also we will have a closer look at where the exact challenges lie for them so that we can tackle that in our way forward together. Now, if you were going to ask me, I'd say that this is a super relevant discussion to have together. And I don't think that this event could fail anymore, but I'm a perfectionist, so I'm going to ask one final thing from the viewers watching at home. We really want this session to be as interactive as possible. So you will see that on your screen, I think it's in the bottom right corner, there is a live chat function. Please use that to share your insights with us, your questions and your comments. And then we will promise to do our best to pose as many of those questions to the speakers as we can. Also, if you want to continue on spreading the message of the HagueTalks sessions, make sure to tag us in your social media posts using the hashtag HagueTalks, very easy one, or hashtag localgov. Whether that's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it, we have it. Maybe except TikTok. Mayor Vonzana, do you have a TikTok account?
No, I don't have it.
You should make one. It's where all the youngsters are doing incredible TikTok dances.
Another time.
Yeah, maybe another time indeed. Now, to get that chat box tested, maybe it would be nice for everyone who's watching from home if they could let us know in the live chat what country you're watching from. And if you want, you could also add the organization that you represent or your role or your function. And then in the meantime, I want to mention one final thing before we start off, because today's event is co-organized by VNG International, by the UCLG Peace Prize, by Museum, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands, and the municipality of The Hague, which is why I am delighted to have our own mayor of The Hague here start off this incredible session event today. So Mayor Vonzana, the floor is entirely yours.
Thank you very much indeed. Dear everyone, wherever you are, how nice it is to have the opportunity today to reflect together on the Peace Prize of the UCLG, here at this HagueTalks, organized by the City of The Hague together with the Association of Netherlands Municipalities, VNG, and the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And I can imagine that apart from those directly involved, not everyone will have heard of this prize. It has also not been around for very long and has been awarded twice so far. This Peace Prize will be awarded for the third time next year. But the UCLG Peace Prize deserves to be better known. And I hope this afternoon will help to achieve that. The idea for this prize was conceived here in The Hague, back in 2008, when the first World Conference on the role of cities in conflict situation was held here, organized by VNG International together with The Hague municipality. The UCLG Peace Prize was launched in recognition of the important part that cities can play in settling disputes and preventing conflict. None other than former Mayor of The Hague, Wim Deetman, was at the forefront in the creation of this prize. Still today, he sits on the panel of judges alongside other leading international figures. I was there myself when the prize was awarded for the first time in 2016. At the UCLG World Conference in Bogota, when it was presented to Kauswagan in the Philippines. It was wonderful, especially for its From Arms to Farms project. From Arms to Farms project. This was about former rebels handing in their weapons and making a new start in organic farming. It was a beautiful story. 3 years later, I was fortunate enough to be there in Durban, in South Africa. This time, the prize was presented to the Lebanese municipality of Arsal. Arsal was awarded the prize for its commitment to preventing and resolving conflicts between the local inhabitants and Syrian refugees. When people think about war and conflict, the first thing they tend to think of is countries and governments fighting each other. While in reality, dear friends, a great many conflicts are fought out at local level. And it is therefore also towns and villages which suffer most because of this violence. They suffer most. While at the same time, the local authorities will often be better placed to resolve such conflicts. Because they're closest to the warring parties. Personally, I think that in the coming period, there will be only more interest in countering conflict at the local level. Something which is also closely connected to the coronavirus. Because this pandemic is not just a global health crisis. It also robbed countless people of their livelihoods all over the world. Economies which were already weak have been completely disrupted. And I fear the worst is yet to come. All of which provides fuel for potential conflicts and violence. As Arnaldo Rommel, mayor of Kauswagan, said in 2016, my dear colleague, it is my deeply held conviction that conflict between population groups is always driven by hunger and poverty. My dear colleague was right. The coronavirus is rampant mostly in cities, where the most infections are occurring. And this is why the battle against the virus has been concentrated mainly in urban areas. But equally, economic recovery after the pandemic will have to take place mainly at the local level. Fortunately, many cities today have great resilience and its people. However, there is still a very real threat of new conflicts emerging or old ones flaring up again. It is therefore a question of strengthening and supporting the position of local authorities all over the world, so that they can do everything in their power to overcome this crisis, to alleviate poverty and avoid disaster. Luckily, cities have the United Nations standing alongside them in this. Soon it will be possible to enter candidates for the UCLG Peace Prize 2022. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing the submissions. May this prize be a source of inspiration for local government administrators anywhere and everywhere. And something that will encourage them to keep working for what their citizens are entitled to respect and to expect. To live in peace, to live in freedom, and to live with dignity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mayor Vonzana, to live in peace and freedom and in dignity.
Dignity, yes.
Beautiful words. And I think definitely what you say very often when we talk about peace, we tend to think of these big international agreements and countries fighting countries.
Yes.
But it's, as you said, it's happening at the local level. So
Around the corner.
yes,
At
indeed.
school. And
Yeah. Literally where we're standing. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing that. And you've already mentioned it a few times. I've mentioned it too, but I'm going to mention it again because we really want to make sure that you do not forget about this prize after you leave this event today, the UCLG Peace Prize. Now, this is an annually awarded prize and it focuses on local governments and celebrates their successful initiatives in conflict prevention, peace building, but also in post-conflict reconstruction. And the initiators of this prize hope that by awarding it and focusing attention on all the great and amazing initiatives that are out there, that in this way we can incite and inspire all other local governments to follow suit with that. And to give you a bit of a glimpse of what the finalists and the initiatives of the last UCL Peace Prize looks like, we have a short video for you.
That's nice.
سكان عرسال هن 40,000 نسمة. دخل إلى عرسال مئات الآلاف من النازحين. كلتنا أهل وأصحاب، كنا وما زلنا وبنبقى إن شاء الله. يعني الإنسان المنفتح بفكره هو بيكون أكبر من موضوع الهوية. حصل لقاءات سريعة مع السوريين وطمأنة إلهم بأنه ما في استهداف لكم. وخطبنا أيضا اللبناني إنه أنت اليوم حل المشكلة ما بيكون بمهاجمة النازح السوري. وصلنا اليوم لمحل في هدوء، في سلام، في تقبل للواقع. نحن سعداء ونحن فخورين بأنه بهيدي المرحلة التاريخية كنا موجودين فيها.
Enforced disappearances, territorial disputes between armed actors, and some of the country's most striking acts of violence have taken place in Bogotá. Bogotá, nonetheless, is a city of opportunity that has been a symbol of civil society organizing in the quest for peace.
They combine psychosocial practices and artistic expressions as an avenue to reconstruct social fabrics that have been fractured by armed conflict, transforming the way individuals view and interact with one another. Our methodology is a flexible toolset that can be replicated in conflict, post-conflict, domestic and international scenarios, adapting to local particularities and needs.
Cali definitivamente ha sido una de las ciudades y de los territorios más afectados por la violencia en Colombia, desde el narcotráfico hasta la guerra. Tan es así que en determinado momento llegamos a ser la ciudad más peligrosa de Latinoamérica. Todas esas realidades nos llevaron a tomar la decisión de diseñar una estrategia que nos permitiera generar una ruta de paz urbana y que efectivamente esa ruta de paz urbana tuviera un componente de reconciliación y por supuesto de justicia restaurativa. Gestores de Paz y Cultura Ciudadana es una apuesta por la vida, es una apuesta por la reconciliación y es una apuesta por la paz.
بری شر داعش هجمارا آکنجین و میلیون و 150,000 کس بون. پشتی سال 2014 و هاتن آواره و پنابران هجمار آکنجین و گهشتن نزدیکی 2 میلیون.
والگردن و استیعاب کردنوی همی خلک زور کی داشیانت حکمت خوجهی و حکمت هرما کردستان جی.
اجبو چسباندن آشتی چندین جاران چالاکین مزن بو آواره و پنابران هاتی نکرن. حکمت خوجهی جی جبلی رولیوی و اورک خستن NGO بو خدمت بو وگریان زوری لآوریان نکریه.
Cambia tu mente, construye paz. Este programa inicia en el año 2016 y surge de la necesidad que tiene la ciudad de resolver problemáticas entre jóvenes que se están disputando los territorios. A partir de este programa, logramos que los jóvenes en conflicto entiendan que no tienen por qué matarse. Jóvenes que antes eran pandilleros, hoy son personas de bien. Hemos logrado tener la tasa de homicidios más baja de los últimos 25 años.
Yes, so that shows how incredibly concrete actions can be and initiatives can be, and how big the impact is that they can have. Now that we've seen the video and we've heard from you, Mayor Vonzana,
Everybody knows now, huh?
yeah, you cannot forget the UCLG Peace Prize. If we were to wake you up in the middle of the night, you should be shouting it out because you're remembering
Send
it.
in your submissions.
Yes, and we've heard now what local governments can do and initiatives that they have. But I don't know about you guys watching at home, but I have gotten really curious to learn more about an activist perspective on this entire matter as well, which is why I am more than delighted that we have here with us digitally in the studio Mrs. Katarina Krugonja from Croatia. Mrs. Krugonja is a well-known peace activist and founder of the Center for Peace, Nonviolence and Human Rights. And before we go off to Mrs. Katarina Krugonja, I want to remind everyone at home again that they can pose their questions in the live chat. And with that being said, Mrs. Krugonja, a warm welcome to you, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Good day, and I'm really grateful and happy and joyful to have this opportunity to talk with you and to be the part of the HagueTalks. This is because I do believe in democratization through conversation, through sharing, through talks. And another reason for that is because of this topic, because really my experience is from a peace activist position that I would even put this title or question of topic today a little bit different, which would be, could we imagine sustainable peace without local governance? It is really not possible. I would like to share with you, but if I would be too long, please give me some sign with some question or something like that.
Yes.
So thank you. Then I'm more secure to talk. In a few days, I start my peace work or journey some 30 years ago when a war started in Croatia. So, and I think the really beginning of this part was wakening up my eyes when I realized actually looking around me how violence is spreading so quickly all around me. When I realized that not probably, but that for sure, I have a part of responsibility for this war because of my passivity. I was very passive in politics. No politics for me. I am a medical doctor, and I was very happy just to do my work without having anything with policy. And now, when I realized that, I almost jumped in anti-war activism, but it was not realistic. And very soon, I would say we, because I didn't stay alone, we talked a lot about situation. And we realized that we can't stop the war. That we also probably will not come to influence the direction of the war. But what we would like to do, and we were thinking about, what can we do today in the middle of the war for the future? And we start with imagination of the future society, which kind of society we would like to have. And it was society more resistant to violence, and society with much more capacity for non-violent dealing with the problems, That is our imagination. And then we start to think, but what can I do? I can do, or we as a group can do today in the middle of the war for this, to reach this, our imagination of future society. And a lot of things we find out is possible to do, but always we were very open for cooperation and ask for cooperation and support of our local government. And it was not by chance, but our strategy for that. And I think that the region from which I am coming, or where I am sitting now, is a very good example how cooperation between citizens, civil society, local government, and national, but also international supporters could contribute to the peace building. So in our region, the end of the war in Croatia ended by peaceful process. It was one of the most successful peace mission, UN peace mission, peaceful reintegration of this eastern part, this is country part of Croatia. And during this period, I was coordinating a huge number of young people. We had 10 multi-ethnic peace teams staying together and living together with the people in war-torn local communities. We were doing prevention of conflict, opening communication between two sides, then really building a space for cooperation. And the end, after the 5-6 years, we ended up this process with participatory planning of the common future for each local community. Another project. This project, the name of this project was Building Democratic Society Based on the Culture of Nonviolence. And we had.
I'm here with the little slide. You asked me for the little.
Okay. So I will just end with sentence or two sentences. Yeah. That from this my experience, I am very convinced that compassion, solidarity, and cooperation is the way how we can change, do transformation in conflict situation, and also in peaceful situation as we have today, and needs for transformation, particularly because we are in the situation of threats of climate, of very vulnerable economy, social and ecological insecurity. Local answers will be key for the secure future of us, I would say. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Mrs. Krugonia. And beautiful words that you spoke, especially what you said, we need compassion and solidarity to solve these conflicts and issues that we see all around the world. And at the very start, you said, could we even imagine sustainable peace without local governance? I saw the mayor here next to me making a little jump.
She's right.
Yeah, Mayor Vonzana, could you give a reaction to Katarina having heard?
Wow, 30 years of compassion, 30 years of inspiration, and a very intense motivation to do that work on local level. And I agree totally with Katarina that she says local initiatives, local governments, if you want to have sustainable peace, you can't do without them. How you participated in as a member of the jury for the UCLG Peace Prize. What motivated you? Why did you do it? Because you have many things to do.
Yeah, it was very encouraging for me because I had an opportunity actually to see that this kind of mushrooming, a lot of local communities are doing an joint enterprise or joint efforts for building sustainable peace all over the world. And that is what encouraged me and give me not only hope, but also inspiration to do more in our local communities. Yeah.
And could you say that you would have done and be inspired even without your very personal Croatian experiences? Because we can't compare. I'm from the Netherlands, you know that. We can't compare with you. Would you all also have found that inspiration without your specific personal and national history and circumstances?
My personal life, or I am war and really meeting the situation of violence really completely changed my life. So I think without that, I don't know how much I would understand this need and other situation. But also that helped me that I see today situation today, even if we are not in the war, we are in very specific period in which we need to prepare ourselves to be to have this deep transformation, to be able in solidarity and in cooperation and with empathy, work together in specific situation of climate insecurity, of economical insecurity, to prevent actually, to be kind of non-violent communities working together for good of all. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. And maybe to ask you, Mrs. Krogonja, because I loved how you mentioned that all of a sudden you jumped into anti-war activism, like it happened like that. Maybe there are a lot of young people watching as well, maybe other people. What would be your message for them? In what way can they start their fight against, conflict and their helping in creation of peace? Maybe you have some tips for the people watching.
I'm okay with anti-war movement or anti-war approach, but it is not just anti-war. Yeah. It should be also some proactive, but what we would like to have and how we will accomplish that, which methodology, which way of dealing with situation we will develop to confront this violence, but also the structural violence, this logic of power above. We would like to have a power with or power for of cooperation. So I think anti-war is basic or first step, and then we should build strategies or non-violent or empathic politics to build sustainable peace.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mrs. Katarina Krogonja. Your name once again. Now we're going on to our second digital speaker with us because we're moving from Croatia to Colombia, another continent, because we have with us today Mr. Oscar Escobar. Mr. Escobar is the youngest mayor of Palmira, and Palmira is also a city in Colombia which has been ranked to be one of the most dangerous cities in the world in the past. And because of this, local authorities in Palmira have developed creative and effective initiatives to ensure peace and to curb the violence And the city has joined the Peace in Our Cities campaign. So if you were going to ask me, reason enough to be more than interested, more than exciting to hear what Mr. Escobar has to tell us.
Señor Alcalde.
Yes, see. Okay, so the floor is all yours, Mr. Escobar.
Well, good morning from Palmira, from Colombia. I want to thank Peace in Our Cities campaign for inviting us here to this important space at the HagueTalks. And also, of course, we're looking forward to obtain a lot of results that we can eventually present to the UCLG Peace Prize. We just started in the city of Palmira last year, and I have a term of mayor for 4 years. As you said, my name is Oscar Escobar. I am 32 years old. I am the youngest mayor elected to the city of Palmira. It was a really difficult election because we were competing with traditional politicians who had governed the city for a long time, but the citizenship gave me their confidence, and here we are leading one of the most important cities in the country. And that is what I want to tell also about Palmira. Palmira, in many of these international spaces, people hear Palmira and think immediately of Syria. So I have to tell them that Palmira is the 20th largest city of Colombia. We have more than 350,000 inhabitants. We also have a lot of companies because we're also not only big in terms of population, but we're actually very big in terms of size too. In the video we saw earlier, you talked about Bogota, about Cali, about Manizales, which are other cities in Colombia who have violence problems. They're all capitals. Palmira is not a capital, but its size is twice the size of Cali in terms of the space that we have. And we have also in this high area, mountain area of Palmira, we have had a lot of violence due to the guerrillas. That was a problem in Colombia for many years. And that with the peace treaty, with its ups and downs, it has gone a lot better. But we still have the urban violence, that violence that is not accounted for guerrillas, but it's accounted for all those issues that we have with the lack of opportunities, right? Even though we have the two largest exporting trading zones in the country, that we have the third largest international airport in the country, and that we have also big agro-industrial companies in our city, we still have a lack of opportunities. And that is why we created PASOS, which is our program for preventing violence. Also, I would like to say that Palmira, in terms of homicide, actually has gotten a lot better. Like 10 years ago, we had effectively one of the highest rates of homicides per 100,000 inhabitants, maybe in the world. We're still in those lists, in those international lists, as one of the 50 cities or big cities with more homicides per inhabitants. But we have gotten a lot better. We are what we see here as the blue line with 36 homicides per 100,000 inhabitants last year. A lot better than Cali, which has 50, but a lot worse than the national average, which is 25, and then Bogota, which is a huge city, but it has a really low rate in comparison with the country, maybe half of the rate of the country. So, but also this problem is not only the deaths that the violence gave us, but it's also its concentration. Its concentration in young people. 50% of all deaths, of all violent deaths in Palmira happen in people younger than me, than I am the youngest mayor. Actually, like maybe last week, we captured a guy who had 2 homicides and is accused of another 4 intents of homicides, and the guy is only 17 years old. So when the highest criminals in your city are just adolescents, then you have a big problem of opportunities. Yes. And that's why we're working with our strategy. But also we have 50% of all the homicides in the city are in 10% of our neighborhoods. So we have a concentrated problem in terms of population, but also in terms of the geographical issue, like in the city. We designed this program that is called PASOS, and the strategy has 5 main components. interruption, which is, like sort of cure violence. We're talking with cure violence in order to have their experience in this component, but it's literally that. When you already identify that they're gonna kill themselves, interrupt that violence. Intervention means creating legal life projects for those young people who are today in criminal structures in the city. Prevention means also a broader institutional offer to prevent other young people to get into these criminal structures in the city that have to do a lot with trafficking, with drug trafficking, and also safe environments, which means the transformation of spaces that have been historically linked to criminal activities. In order to do all this, of course, we also need provide access to justice and have a lot of interagency coordination. This is not a problem of the police. This is a problem of all the city, and we are working with 10 different agencies in the city and 22 different goals in our master development plan in order to make this strategy work. It has an investment of $1.8 million in the 4 years of our term, starting last year and ending in 2023. And we're very eager to learn from other international strategies too, in order, I'm sorry, I was...
It's very early in the morning, I hear.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing that you were so strict on time, Mr. Escobar. But please do go on if you still wanted to finish up.
No, I was just saying that is our strategy. We have already started implementation. We're eager to learn from other cities that have achieved important results, and also to cooperate with the experiences also that we have all over the world.
Yeah, thank you so much. And if I may applaud you again for being the youngest mayor of Palmira ever, I think that's incredible. Wow. Yeah, definitely. And what you said, that it was a hard election because it was a very traditionally leader who was there already a longer time. I think it's the sort of new leadership that helps us to move towards better things. So I want to applaud you for that. And looking at you, Mayor Vonzana, because this is your fellow mayor colleague.
Yes.
Maybe your first reaction.
Estimado colega, it is a pleasure to meet you and hear about your strategy, interruption, intervention, prevention, safe environments. And I think I see similarities how we do it in the Netherlands and in Europe, and especially also what you mentioned about the young people who are the most infected by drugs and whatever criminality, which is a terrible problem. And I join you in your attack on fighting that. How does, because we try to do as many things as possible on a local level, but what kind of things you would like to have either from the region or from the national government? Because that's always a discussion. We can't do it on our own. How do you think? What do you think, Oscar?
It is, as I said, there are very important things that the national government can do, as the peace treaty that we have in Colombia from a couple of years ago. Of course, local governments are the one who can understand really the logic and the dynamics of the violence in the city. So also in this geographical concentration that we have identified and created 9 clusters, 7 in our urban area and 2 in a rural area where the violence is more concentrated. In those areas, for example, we are literally bringing down houses that are used for criminal activities. This we can do under the law, because if you do a criminal activity like drug trafficking in a house, you lose the ownership of the property of the house and the state can bring it down. We brought a house down maybe 2 weeks ago in La Emilia, which is a neighborhood that has issues in Palmira with violence. And we will hope, and we would like the national government to give us resources in order to transform that house that is now a corner, that is now an empty corner of the city, into something that brings opportunity. If that house, if that corner in La Emilia was a place for criminality, now it has to be a place for opportunity. It has to be a library. It has to be games for kids, something. But we cannot leave that space empty. So of course, that is the kind of help that we would like.
Yeah, I can understand, Oscar. And I would say take care and carry on with your fight. And I will support you whenever I can. I see that in the previous 2 editions of the Peace Prize, many Colombian local peace initiatives were highly appreciated. They got in the final. Maybe what's your secret? Because other people will send submissions, but they want to know the secret about Colombia, the local Colombian people who are so successful for trying to win the Peace Prize. What's your secret?
Well, I believe it's just a tragedy that you cannot ignore, right? You cannot ignore 120 people dying every year due to preventable causes. So it's something that we just have to deal with, that we have learned that it's not by bringing more police or bringing more security cameras. Of course, we have to do all that because people also require a hard hand to pursue criminality. But the structural causes are other ones. So we have to create innovative programs in order to address that. I believe is that.
Yeah, I see that we have a question from the audience too for you, Mr. Escobar. We have a question from Freddy Sahin Guvu from the Hague Academy for Local Governance, and he's asking, mainstreaming people's engagement in community development programs and local conflict resolutions is one way to sustain peace, but how do you do that in Palmira? How do you get those people's engagement in the conflict resolutions and in the development programs for the community?
Well, I think in bringing also Katarina's words, she said cooperation is key to transformation. We also believe that deeply, but the first step to cooperate is to trust. And that is something that people have lost with their governments, not only in Colombia, I believe in many parts of the world. So if there is no trust in between us, it's going to be very hard to cooperate. So of course, we do not believe that we are inventing the wheel. We believe that we have good intentions, that we have a budget, that we have an interagency approach, but we need communities to work with us. And that trust has some time to build. We have also Gestores, which is a program that has people who know every territory in the ground, maybe seeing all that stuff that you cannot see from your major's office or from behind the desk, in order to give us more insight to invest properly and to do what has more impact.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm quickly going to take a look at our team backstage to see if there are more questions from the audience. I see that there is one coming in right now. Somebody else has another question for you, Mr. Escobar. They are asking, what strategies do you employ to deal with the rebellious aftermath of those, benefiting the economical impacts from these structurally motivated violence incitings that are happening?
That's the hardest, because of course, where there is money involved, there's always going to be people who really need the money and who's going to become new members of the structure. And it's again talking about La Emilia. We hit a band. We captured 9 people last year from a band, and they are called. Their alias was called the Rabbits. And I was like, that's a strange name. Yeah. But now that we have hit them, I understand why are they called like that? It's because they reproduce really easily. We have captured 9 of them, but now they are recruiting a lot of people. Oh, so wow. that is the prevention part of our strategy. We have to hit them hard, right? But also we have to create new opportunities for young people in order to try to take them away from that criminal market. That's probably the hardest part.
Yeah. I want to thank you, Mr. Escobar. Last question was from Victor Mania. Yes, and we are going on to our next speaker. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Adios, indeed. I'm going to take some Spanish classes from you, I think. Mayor Vonzana, you are top-notch when it comes to the languages. We spoke about young people with Mr. Escobar already a little bit, and maybe that is an amazing link to our next speaker. We have Rose Mbone calling in with us live from Kenya. Rose, so great to have you here. Rose is a community mobilizer and has vast practical experience in bringing together young people from different diverse backgrounds to have conversations on different issues concerning criminality that affects youth and the community as a whole. Rose is also currently coordinating the Trauma Awareness and Resilience campaign under the Legend Kenya community-based organization. So Rose, I think it speaks for itself that we are more than excited and interested to hear what you can share with us today. So the floor is all yours. Ooh, I see that Rose is frozen. I see our people backstage whispering, thinking about how they're going to solve it. But maybe in the meantime, I can ask you, Mayor Vonzana. Yeah, because we spoke a little bit earlier about the young people, and you said that is something that you also recognize. Do you see specific solutions, in getting young people aboard on those peace?
Yeah, well, I would think that you would first of all we would have to ask the youngsters themselves, the students, the people who have the new vision, the new way of talking about peace, the way they're communicating with each other, also on social media. So if you would like to have them participate, then first of all you should speak their language.
Yes.
You should ask role models to inspire them, and of course from very young until let's say university level, try to educate them that they know there's more in the world than not having peace,
Yes.
and that you have to fight for your peace every day. Again, there you are, Rose.
Yes.
You are there and lively, we hope.
Yes, thank you so much, Mayor Vonzana. I love what you said indeed, speaking with them. Young people are not just the future, but we are also the present. And I think that there is nobody better to tell us more about that than Miss Rosenboom herself. Rose, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much for having me. Good evening from Kenya. Apologies for my internet. This is a new normal that we have to live with. I would like to say that when I began my peace building journey in 2012, and this was as a result of losing someone who was very dear to me. I lost a brother who was in prison for 8 years, and upon his release, only 6 months later, he was shot dead. And in Nairobi, this thing was like normalized, the extrajudicial killings and young people participating in criminal activities. So there were a lot of tensions and mistrust between the youth and security actors. And I felt this was a wake-up call for me as a woman, a young woman in this case. How do I unpack my pain in such a way that I'm not continuing the issues of young people participating in criminal activities and security actors picking up the execution way of eliminating crime in our society? And mostly I used to engage youth on community conversations, having single identity dialogues with the youth, and also notifying the local administration on this ongoing dialogues. And at some point, we had to bring them together. We were doing this because I was understanding from my point of listening to how young people were reasoning on when it comes to issues of peace and security. They were just pointing fingers and blaming the security actors. Most of them were not seeing some of the root causes that lead to the actions of the security actors. On the other hand, also blame games were playing out. So in my first attempt to bring them together, I really faced a lot of challenges, because when youth came and I had prepared them for this dialogue and security actors also agreed to come on board, they ended up exchanging words and blaming them. And at this point, I really felt disappointed, because I thought this was an opportunity for them to air their issues so that the security actors can listen and act upon them. On the other hand, police officers also felt like I just brought them there so that these young people could intimidate them and talk to them rudely. So I had to go back to the drawing board and find out, how can we deal with this issue in such a way that it is solution oriented in some way. So it is then that I noticed that it is important to deal with people who are hurting. Make sure you deal with their pains before you introduce them to the other parties whom you want them to have a conversation with. That is when I introduced the issue of trauma healing awareness and resilience, so that they are able to understand that even having a conversation with them perceived police officers whom they brand all sorts of names, they are killers, they are brutal. Let them heal and understand that having a conversation with a police officer is also part of their healing journey. And this really helped me. And you realize that when they understand we want solution to our problems, they're able to move outside the box and reason, how can we achieve this? This was only made possible because I know the psychological effects, the trauma that was caused on most of them, how many young women were widowed at a very tender age, 16, 17, 18, you're just there, you don't know what to do with your life, they are confused. So this is the key point that I really took it up, and it really worked out. And in 2018, I was privileged enough to lead a peaceful disarmament process. This was a young man who was being targeted by police to be killed, not even to be arrested. He was in their target list. But when he approached me and said, Rose, you know what? I want to give this firearm back to the government. I felt like I cannot do this thing alone. I have to include security actors in such a way that I'm not going to expose this young man. He's not going to be killed, because we have had cases when other people surrendered and they just disappeared out of nowhere. So I had to work with a very local government official, and I told him, you know what I've been doing in this community with young people. Now I want to give back an illegal firearm to the government. I need you to help me do this in such a way that we're not putting this young man's life in danger. And we were able to lead this process, and it was very successful. And the community now gains trust, and they're able to understand that it is okay to surrender back illegal firearms to the government. And sometimes I just noticed that the way of doing it really matters a lot. You cannot do peace and security in isolation. You must work with especially security actors. And I reason with the police from an angle of, before they are police officers, they are human beings. Being able to connect the human being part of it, so that I'm not seeing them as killers, I'm not seeing them as brutal, I'm seeing them as human beings, and I connect with their day-to-day life. I also put into account...
Mrs. Rosenboom, no, on that note, we're a bit short on time. I'm so sorry to cut you short. But we have questions for you, so we would love to hear more from you. But I love the note that you ended on, saying that, we have to start from a place of understanding and letting them heal with their pain first. And indeed, the example that you gave of the young man with the firearm, that you could hand it in a way that would not have retributions for him, comes from a place from forgiveness, I think, as well. And I think that's a beautiful note to continue on. Mayor Vonzana, hearing such an eloquent young person who fights from such deep passion, what is your reaction from hearing this?
Well, first of all, sorry to hear the story about your brother, of course, because that's where it all started, you could say.
Yeah.
But you gave such a good reason and a motivation why you are the best community mobilizer I've ever seen before, because the story you tell and the way you do it, it is really articulate and it inspires really.
Yeah.
But I have another question to you. 2 weeks ago, I think on International Women's Day, you received an award for your outstanding role on women, peace and security in Kenya from the State Department of Gender and the Office of the First Lady. How does this award contribute to the momentum you already have to your work and of your work? Because this is a great honor, of course, and I hope it helps you to give even more momentum. And now she's standing still.
She's
Wow.
frozen by the
Frozen
amazing
again.
question. Yeah, I don't know if Rose can hear us, but maybe nice for the people to know at home that Rose, I hope you can hear me, but you're getting a lot of compliments in the chat as well. Somebody's
Yes.
saying, excellent, Rose, trauma healing is the first step to a constructive and inclusive dialogue. And I think that is definitely true, and that is definitely something that, you know, needs to be said more in this entire discussion about, you know, finding
Security
solutions.
officers are also human beings.
Yeah.
So I try to think of them as human beings, and that's the start, the really beginning of the solution. There's Rose again. I hope.
Yeah.
That's Rose. Could you hear us? And could you hear my question?
Kindly, can you ask your question? I didn't get it.
Yes, what I heard, you got a big prize, I think, on International Women's Day. Does it give you extra momentum for your work you're doing now? Because you are the most effective community mobilizer I've heard in long times. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. This award really motivated me and it inspires me to even do more. And I dedicated this award to the young men and women striving out there to bring peace in their communities. It is never an easy thing, especially in the informal settlements of Nairobi. This is because I know some of the hardships that young people go through. The issue of high rate of unemployment, the issue of readily available firearms and maybe politicians willing to exploit these young people, and drugs and drug abuse. I really take it as an advantage to see young people championing like the UN Peace and Security Resolution 2250, localizing it, speaking to the community, striving to translate this document in the language that best speaks to fellow youths at the community level. I really feel privileged and I feel so happy.
Yeah.
Even though the award was given to me as a woman peace builder on women, peace and security, I still highly dedicated to young men and women. Even me personally, I cannot do peace building without these young men. Most of them trust me because I listen to them, and there's a way I pack their stories and try to support them overcome some of these challenges.
Yes.
So I'm not doing this work in isolation or with women only.
Yeah, you're receiving more compliments, Rose. Somebody else is saying, Rose, it is our humanity that connects us. Well done.
Yeah.
And maybe very shortly, if you could very briefly answer one final question that we have. Oh, I see another compliment coming right in. You are amazing and inspiring, Rose. There is so much to learn from you. Again, I think that only accounts for all the hard work you put into this and the passion. Maybe very quickly, you could tell us also, Rose, how do you institutionalize these dialogues to ensure sustainability when it comes to peace?
When young people take ownership of the process, sustainability is guaranteed. Let them lead, and as a leader, lead from behind. As a mediator or a facilitator, just support them and help them think within the box, outside the box, and also look at the bigger picture. What do we want for our community? And at the end of the day, how do we achieve all this? And mostly this, we strive with the relationship between youth and police. Make sure that the young people understand that it is not only them who are hurting. Even the security actors, there are some challenges that cannot be shared with the community because of the intelligence and some security related issues. But if you help them understand that before this person is an officer, they are human beings. And these officers, even let them know that they are working with people who understand their rights. They're not supposed to work from an angle of maybe thinking the youth at the community level are illiterate. They don't understand what they are doing. Yeah. They're confused. No, there are people who understand. There are people who have vision. There are people who have hopes. And we can only work together to achieve peaceful environment.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rose, to end on that inspirational note too. Rose and Bone, everyone, thank you so much for being here. And now before we go on to our next speaker, Mayor Vonzana, I've heard that you had to leave for an urgent appointment. Yes, I want to thank you as well for being here with us, asking all these sharp questions, and for being my Spanish counselor.
Thank you, my pleasure. Enjoy and take care and carry on, and say hello later to my dear friend and colleague from Palermo.
Yes, yes, I will, most definitely. Okay, have a good day. Okay, thank you so much for being here. Okay, now we are going on to our fourth and last speaker, last but definitely not least, because we have with us the mayor of Palermo in Italy, Mr. Leoluca Orlando. He is very well known for his leading role in supporting human rights in Italy, for his dedication in the fight against the mafia, and more recently for his being a strong defender of migrants' rights in Italy. Mr. Orlando, I would say that it is our greatest honor to have you here with us. The mayor just sent his regards. He had to leave, but we're very happy to have you here, and the floor is all yours.
Thanks a lot. Really, really a pleasure, privilege to join the HagueTalks. Thanks to all of you, and a special greeting to the mayor of the Hague, Jan Vonzana. Peace. Peace is not only a common good. Peace is a human right. In my opinion, peace is the first human right in the communities, in the interpersonal dimension. In my opinion, the first human right in the communities is peace. The first individual human right is identity. But identity does not depend from the blood of the parents. Identity is a free choice, because when the identity comes from the blood of the parents, it produces genocide and intolerance. So I wish to say that I'm not Palermitan because my father and my mother were Palermitan. I am Palermitan because I decide to be Palermitan. At the end of this talk, probably, I will decide to be Tunisian and Jewish, or better, German and Hindu, because identity is a free choice. Virus and digital, let us invite and oblige to live the global dimension of the life. I tell you, the global dimension of the rights. May I say that the risks of global virus, nothing so global, neither the Second World War produces so many victims, involved so many states, and destroyed so many lives. So, in my opinion, the risk of global virus, the opportunities of global digital, and the sufferances of the global migrants, let us know better and promote our rights, not their rights. As sure, well-known Oscar Escobar, because the people displaced in Medellin or in Bogota or in Palmira, the people displaced in Palermo, Villa Colombia. I am the honorary mayor of Palermo, Villa Colombia. I will die mayor of Palermo, honorary and in Colombia, not in Italy, honorary. But I will die honorary mayor of Palermo, Villa Colombia, 40,000 inhabitants. But I know very well the experiences of Antanas Mockus, a legend, the mayor of Bogota, of Sergio Fajardo, of Fico Gutierrez, the mayors of Medellin. And they know what does mean to live in a city so rich of displaced people. And who are the migrants? The migrants are including all the different people who are displaced. Migrants, remember us, first, we are all interdependent. In the 4th of July 2002, with Professor Benjamin Barber in Philadelphia, in 4th of July, Independence Day, we started the launch of the Interdependence Day. Independence Day. The second year was in Cape Town, then in London, so on. I mean that we are all interdependent. Virus, remember us that we are interdependent. Digital remembers us that we are interdependent. Migrants remember us, we are interdependent. Second, The migrants remember us that the identity is a free choice. The migrants remember us that in many cases the state do not respect the human rights. The states were just built to respect the rights of the citizen. In many cases, they don't respect human rights. And the homeland cannot be a condemnation of my parents. My homeland is in Italy, but it's my choice. It's a free choice, because only in name of free choice I can have as homeland a land, Italy, having a national hymn that cannot be heard. You know the words, national hymn of Italy? Awful. Stringiamoci a corte, siamo pronti alla morte, che Italia chiamò, che scava di Roma e Dio la creò. No, please, please, no. But it is my choice. I stand up with my hand in my heart. Yeah. My wife is not Miss World. It is my choice. It's my free choice. So why people coming from Bangladesh can decide their identity, can establish in which state to live, can decide to have homeland Netherlands or Italy, and I cannot decide that my homeland can be Bangladesh or Pakistan or Germany. So you can understand, they are changing our point of view. Let's speak about climate change. Climate change. Thanking the migrants, we are discovering that climate change is not the problem of Greta. It's not the problem of Greta. Who are the first victims of climate change? The millions of persons obliged to leave the country because the certification has destroyed any possibility to eat, to live, to survive. Let's speak about the war. Yes. In Amsterdam, in Den Haag, we have terrible problem of war. Yes, in Berlin, terrible problem of war. In Rome, Europe does not know war since 75 years. Who are the first victims of war? We Europeans, or the millions of persons obliged just to leave from their country, just to live in a condition of so many local wars? Security. Security. Security is the problem of somebody retired in Groninga, or something retired in Bologna, or something retired in Madrid, or is a problem of persons obliged just to leave their country because they wish to avoid the violences and they wish to live a normal life. Starting from this point of view, Palermo has approved the Charter of Palermo. International mobility is a human right. International mobility is exactly a human right. And we think that the residence permit is the new slavery, the new death penalty. The new slavery and death penalty. Yes, I know, it was a long way to be free from death penalty. Imagine the Vatican, I'm Catholic, nobody is perfect. Imagine that the Vatican abolished the death penalty only in 2001. 2001. It means that until 2001, the Erdogan could be joined the European Union and not the Pope, because according had the death penalty. You understand what does I mean? Just speaking about ethical reason connected to the right to live. And let's speak about slavery. 60 years ago, not say 600 years ago, somebody said, I have a dream in a very civil country like the United States of America. And Voltaire, the famous philosopher Voltaire, was a merchant of slaves. So it was a long way. It's a long way to be free from slavery. It's a long way to be free from death penalty. It will be a long way to be free from residence permit. But if somebody asks to me how many migrants, I'm speaking about peace. I'm speaking about peace. Probably you understood. I'm speaking about peace, not about something else. But when somebody asks to me how many migrants are in Palermo, I don't reply 80,000. I reply no one. Who lives in Palermo is Palermitan. I'm sorry for you. But when you will come in Palermo, you will be obliged to be Palermitan. It's my formal decision. You can leave Palermo when you wish. But until when you stay in Palermo, you are obliged to be Palermitan. Yeah. We have the same rights, the same duties of all the others. To understand what does it mean just building a peace in the community? Do you know what does it mean when everybody feels Palermitan and all the tourists coming in Palermo, they feel at home. Yeah. Palermo has become a really important touristic city, thanking the migrants, because we demonstrated to be exciting and safe. Exciting. We are just like a rainbow, like a mosaic of different pieces of stones living together. In Palermo, for my decision, the dog, the cat, and the mouse, they have to work together. they can be in fight outside Palermo. But in Palermo, they have to work just together.
Thank you so much, Mr. Orlando.
But let me see only one thing.
Yes.
The role of the mayor is to let everybody to be visible.
Yeah.
Because invisibility means violation of human rights. Invisibility means danger. If I am invisible, I am dangerous for me and for the others.
Yeah.
It is the same if I am a criminal fugitive or if I am a poor man living underground.
Yes.
So let the mayor work to let everybody be visible. And I've signed 100 anographic residents to let everybody to be visible. And one of these guys said, I thank the mayor of Palermo in an interview to a national newspaper. I thank the mayor of Palermo, I don't know him, but he gave to me anographic residence. Now, finally, I can pay taxes.
Wow.
So now I know the civic number of the street where I can send the police to arrest you. Security in democracy depends from respect of human rights.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Orlando. That's a beautiful note to end on. And I love indeed what you said about the identity. If you choose to be Palermitan, as you called it, then you are Palermitan. And I think especially in this day and age when we see, rising feelings of divisiveness in Europe and populism that divides people instead of uniting them, I was really curious to hear from you and all the amazing work that you have done. What do you think are some of the key messages that local leaders need to hear to tackle this division that we see that is on the rise in Europe?
I wish just to speak about populism.
Yeah.
Somebody says that populism is politically of right. No. Populism is not a substantive, it's an adjective. I know so many politicians of left were populist, and so many politicians of right were populist. Who is populist? Populist does not respect the time. Populist imagine it is possible to solve a problem as soon without contrast. It means a tweet a slogan. 40 years ago, when the president of the Sicilian region, Piersanti Mattarella, was killed by politicians and by mafiosi, by the body of the killed president of the Sicilian region was the brother Sergio, professor in the university, my colleague, and I, legal advisor of Piersanti Mattarella, the killed president. If Sergio Mattarella and I should have said we will let Palermo to be free from the government of the mafia in 3 months, we should be populist. We needed 40 years to let Palermo to be finally free from government of Praia, to be finally exciting and safe. When the 31st of January, Sergio Mattarella, the brother of the killed governor of Sicily, my friend, assistant in the university of my father, and that I knew since I baptized, I mean, when he was elected president of the Republic, I called him and said, Sergio, mission accomplished. You are president of the Republic, I am the mayor of Palermo, and the politicians who killed Piersanti do not govern the city. But we need 40 years.
Yeah.
So we will need a long time to be free from this from resident permit. But we decided to start.
Thank you so much, Mr. Orlando. And indeed, it's what you said, that honesty, I think, is also really important in tackling it and being honest about what you need. I see that we also have a question from the audience. There is somebody who is asking you, are there things that you want to do to enhance peace, but that do not fit your role as mayor? If you could, I don't know if you heard the question, if you could answer very briefly. There is somebody that is asking, are there things that you want to do to enhance peace, but that do not fit your role as mayor? Very shortly, if you could.
Just to let the young people to go abroad, not to stay in Palermo.
Yeah.
And then to come back, just knowing the other world, other cities, other customs, other languages. So as you can understand, in the last election, I got 82% of the votes. 82% of the votes of young people from 18 to 32 years, and only 25 of the parents. But 82 and 25, I was re-elected.
Yeah.
I mean, I always say to young people, you have to fight against your parents.
Yeah. It's as you said earlier, right? Populism, it does not respect the time. We have to go with the time and go with the change. And indeed, I think it's only a great sign that the young people are voting 82%. That's incredible.
May I just say something?
Yes, one thing
Allora,
indeed.
I am a racist. Yes, I'm racist.
Towards old people.
Because I defend the only race, the human race.
Oh, wow. That is
I am a
amazing.
racist. I defend the human race. And do you know how many identities we have in the world? Do you know how many?
One. The human race.
8 billion.
8 billion, indeed, everybody.
Each human being is an identity. I am not my brother. I'm not my father. I'm not my cousin. I am a combination, a mixage. I am a cocktail of different sensations. And in any case, I establish how much gin, how much martini.
Yes, indeed. I love that. That's a beautiful note to end on, Mr. Orlando. Thank you so much. And indeed, as you said, we all have unique identities. And in the end, I think that's what should unite us as people, because being different also means that we are all equal and all the same in our uniqueness. So thank you so much for that.
Be different to be equal, and stay strong, stay safe.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I think this is a perfect example of transformative leadership. And I see that Freddy Sahinguvu from the Hague Academy for Local Governments thinks the same. He commented it in the chat function. Now, with this contribution, we have come to the end, unfortunately, of this Hague Talk event. I want to thank our speakers, our incredible speakers, for sharing their wonderful insights. And I want to thank you, of course, our trusted audience watching from home. I hope that you heard some inspiring things that you can hopefully take forth in your own work. There is one thing that we still want to share with you, and I personally think it's a rather special thing, because if you want to learn more about local peace after this event, and if you want to carry on spreading the message, there is a publishment of the UCLG Peace Prize publication. The link to this publication will be shared in the chat and later on in the description of this video, so that you can look it back. So if you still want to have some food for thought after this event is over, make sure to check it out. I see Mayor Orlando giving us a big thumbs up, so that's a good sign. Now, I still want to thank our organizers, and to everyone watching at home. If you want to rewatch this event at any time, make sure to check it out at the HagueTalks website. And with that being said, one final thank you to everyone. I think we put together a wonderful event, so thank you so much.